So a Scrat, a.k.a. Carson Beck, down in Miami, a dark horse for the Heisman this year. Let's talk about it right now on the Waterboys College Football Podcast.
All right, fellas, nobody has been more critical than this show right here of Carson Beck. We have made many videos talking enough mess about Carson Beck that I'm willing to eat my words as a grown man of 40 sitting in Oklahoma City. Carson Beck is that dude. Last week against South Florida, which everybody, if you're a casual fan, maybe you haven't heard, or maybe you just woke up from a coma. South Florida can play football. They had the two going into this week. They had the two best wins in college football. And he went 23 for 28, 368 total yards and 4 TDs. And he was doing it all. And I we posing this question, is it time to start looking at Carson Beck as a Heisman dark horse? Now, obviously, this helps that Arch Manning is playing as bad as a human being can play at the quarterback position, that all of a sudden everybody's kind of opened their eyeballs and going, what other quarterbacks are out there? And when you look at it, Garrett Nussmeier's not had a couple of great games in a row. He was the Heisman front runner, I think. For a lot of people going into the LSU Florida game, didn't play well there, struggled against Louisiana Tech. It really, if I'm not thinking I'm crazy, he's got enough big games left on his schedule that he's going to get some national exposure. He's got the storyline of him transferring from Georgia. That's going to make a lot of things going down the stretch be really interesting. And according to covers.com, he's a plus 900 to win. John Mateer currently leads that, plus 800 on FanDuel. Gunnar Stockton a plus 1,100. Jeremiah Smith plus 1,200. I mean, he's a little bit of a long shot, but every time that he needs something, every time that Miami needs something, they go to him and he makes plays, and he's fun to watch, Trez.
He is. I'm looking at his season stats this year. This man has got a 79.3% completion percentage.
Wow.
He is basically completing 8 out of every 10 passes he throws. And it's not dink and dunks either. He's averaging 9.9, 10 yards a pass. Every time he completes a pass, it's a first down, essentially.
He's probably scared to not complete a pass, because when you got 7-11, a.k.a. always open, Michael Irving over there on the sidelines.
That's true. That's true.
I'd be scared to piss Michael off.
But no, he needs to take a little bit better care of the football, but he's got a 185.7 passer rating. He's got, what does he have? 8 carries for 26 yards, so in 1 touchdown. So he's able to make it work on his feet too, if he has to. Man, I don't know. For me, that game on October 4th at Florida State in Tallahassee, that's going to be some fun football.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really high on Florida State this year. I think that they've got some dogs on that defense. They're going to be really fun to watch. So, that could be – I know it's early in the season, but that very well could be like his Heisman moment game. If he goes out and puts up, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, maybe another 50 on the ground, that could be a game, and he wills the Hurricanes to victory in that game. That could be the game that he goes out and is like, the Heisman Trophy is mine, right? But I still think like it's John Mateer's award to lose right now. But he very well could be a dark horse. Definitely a long shot, but I think Carson Beck has slowly re-entered the conversation.
He's getting very close, depending on how the next couple weeks go, to maybe us potentially giving his flowers back to him here on the Waterboys College Football Podcast after we gave him a lot of slack. Yeah. Because something that I think about a lot, too, in all sports is stuff that stats can't account for. Like, who has to have it more? Who's got more pressure on them? And when you look at Carson Beck, the season that he had last year, and then all the drama that went on during the off season with his girlfriend and his Lambo getting stolen and all this just kind of stuff, just noise. I look at it like, okay, this is probably going to be his last year. If he wants a shot to make it in the NFL and get drafted in any round, he's got to have some kind of like comeback standout season this year, down at Miami. And so far, they're turning some heads. They have everybody talking right now in the college football world. Is Miami back? Like, who expected them to beat Notre Dame, even if it was, by a point? If I was betting on that game, which I didn't, I probably would have took Notre Dame, but glad I didn't, or I'd been wrong. But yeah, so there's just certain things like that stats can't account for. And I think that he just maybe has a little bit more pressure. And it's kind of a good thing, in my opinion, that coming into the season, he's not getting thought of a lot. Everybody's talking about either John Mateer, they're talking about DJ Lagway, or all these different quarterbacks. What's Boise State going to do this year? Arch Manning, of course, all this stuff. So he's just kind of been flying under the radar, hopefully going about his business, getting his stuff together, and just taking it, 1 week at a time, going 1-0, every week at a time. So it's a little bit too early, obviously, to tell now if maybe Miami, yet alone Carson Beck, is back. It's certainly trending that way, though.
Yeah, and everything is going to come down to Heisman moments. They got to have something that they're going to, roll over and over, drive to win a game or just a crazy stat game, something like that. And he's going to have plenty of opportunities. I do think that Florida State game may be a way for him to get himself to New York, which even if he can get to New York, he can finish in the top 3 or 4 and be invited to go. I mean, that's going to say a lot to pro scouts. I think he's processes information a lot faster than I guess I realized at Georgia, because they're asking him to do a lot more than what he was doing at Georgia.
Yeah.
The offense runs through him and he does a good job.
And he has a way better O-line this season than he had last year at Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big factor too.
That's definitely true. So yeah, if he can stay healthy, take care of the football, I mean, there is a chance that he could do it. But we talk about the Heisman moment thing, and I do think that that's a real life thing. Like that's you think back to all of the players that have won their Heisman trophies, right? Like Reggie Bush, it was that run against Fresno State where he cut back all the way across the field and scored that long touchdown. You got the Tim Tebow. He like made a promise after that game, went out and won it all. There's things like that everywhere. And, he's really got the one matchup left against Florida State. And you look at the other guy that's kind of leading the conversation, John Mateer. He's got like 8 opportunities left on his schedule to get several Heisman moments. So it's going to be interesting. I think, obviously you have to win the games. The Heisman is not going to go to a guy who is a loser. I mean, I guess it did last year. We're not going to talk about it. That's a different conversation with Travis Hunter, just a different breed of football player. But like, if it's going to go to a quarterback, it's not going to go to a quarterback who's losing football games. So John Mateer, if he wants to win it, he's going to have to win the games. And he's got a lot of games that are going to be really tough, so he can have those Heisman moments in. But I'm like thinking through the list of quarterbacks that we kind of had at the top of the, at the beginning of the season that we thought were going to be like the Heisman favorites. Lenora Sellers, not on there. DJ Lagway, not on there. Arch Manning, falling off a cliff. Garrett Nussmeier, can't seem to figure it out. It's really interesting. Now the conversation has swung back to the 2 old guys in the building, the 2 old guys in the room, Carson Beck and John Mateer. It's just really interesting how this season has worked out for the quarterbacks.
Yeah, Drew Aller hasn't done anything that shocks anybody.
He's been boring, just like every quarterback before him at Penn State.
Call it a hot take, but I'm going to go ahead and put this out there now. I don't think Miami's going to beat Louisville this year. I got them losing that game.
It's a trap game, always is at Louisville. They always they're a little bit like your Wildcats. They've got one under their belt that you got to be careful of going in there. And he could probably he could lose 1, he could lose 2 and still really do well, but he can't lose 1 or 2 and play bad. Because with his background and what was going on in the offseason, Heisman voters, we all know it. They're all old and white for the most part. They're not going to be real happy to give it to the sleeve tattoo kid that got his Lambo stolen from the U.
Always looks kind of sleepy.
He does kind of look like he doesn't get enough sleep.
Just go to bed before the sun goes down just once, kid. What are we doing?
Miami, baby. All right. Let us know in the comments. where would you rank Carson Beck right now in quarterbacks in college football? Does he have a chance to maybe find his way to New York and maybe sneak in as the dark horse for the Heisman Trophy? Make sure to subscribe here on the Waterboys College Football Show. Thanks so much. Catch you on the next one.